So welcome back.
Thank you.
You were going to share with us about your Outback experiences.
Well, Gary passed in 2007, and in 2008, I was invited to participate in healing ceremonies in the Outback, and I have absolutely 100% belief that he was behind that. Because there were only the Aborigine, the remote Aboriginals. The women decided they wanted to start opening up their ceremonies to other cultures and to other women, and the men were very much against it, but the women won out, as they tend to do sometimes. And so they invited about 20 women from around the world, and I was one of them, and I brought my friend. So there were two of us that came from the United States, and we just showed up not even knowing what's going to happen. And I remember getting there thinking, I really did not think this through, because it felt like I had landed on Mars. It's very harsh in the desert. It's red and it stains everything. You can't touch anything. If you touch on any kind of wood, it'll splinter off into your hand because it's been baking in this 120-degree heat every day. And there's all kinds of, they have spiders that are the size of a dinner plate, that with their body the size of your fist. So it was, there were wild camels. We were seeing wild dung from the camels and wild pigs and some of the most poisonous spiders and snakes. And so I was just kind of like, you really should have thought this through a little bit more.
Like, why am I here?
I'm glad it was you instead of me.
I know. And then, so I'm laying in my sleeping bag the first night thinking, what? I just jump in. And then I heard a plane overhead, and I can't tell you the relief I felt from just hearing that plane.
There's civilization somewhere.
Yeah. So we were doing ceremonies, and of course I can't describe those out of respect for the Aborigines, but we would paint our bodies. Our bodies became the canvas, and the dances were very specific. And, the Aborigines, they don't pray for rain. They just know they're out of alignment. And so same thing with healing. They just know they're out of alignment. So they put things back in alignment. So what we were doing in these ceremonies, it kept building during the week. You could just feel there was something growing. And I think that the white women were adding our own power and energy to it. And we ended up creating really powerful thunderstorms that just kept circling the camp, really powerful thunderstorms. And I learned later that the Aborigines said that the white women had added enough energy to it that they were creating some of the most powerful storms they'd had, which they needed for their food, their crops. And when I went back to the hotel, the concierge said that they hadn't seen storms like that in a long, long time. So
wait, how come you're not doing that? We need to do that here.
Well, the second part of that, Roger, is we didn't know we were going to be doing that. The white women didn't know because we couldn't speak, there was a different language. And I don't think any of the white women had covered up our sleeping bags, and we didn't have tents. So there was nothing like, sleeping in a wet sleeping bag in a freezing desert to create a lifetime of memories on that one. So
no kidding. And you had some very specific protocols that you had to adhere to. And I know that was kind of freaked you out a bit because you were always afraid you were going to break one of them.
I don't think you realize how many protocols a culture has until you're plopped into another one that's very, very different. Mm-hmm. And right off the bat, I'm breaking protocols left and right. That's just, the way I operate. But they were teaching us how to do these dances, and it's very serious business when you do these ceremonies. And I felt like a white girl trying to learn how to dance for the first time, and I wasn't getting it. And I just started laughing at myself out loud at trying to learn this involved dance. And I noticed one of the Aboriginal women look at me like, don't do that.
It's not okay.
Not okay to laugh.
It's not okay to laugh during ceremonies, no. So it's a different cultural protocol, especially during ceremonies. And the men were outside. We never saw the men. The men were outside the area, but they were holding and grounding us there because it was very powerful what we were doing. So we needed the men also involved, but from a distance, keeping us safe. So it was really interesting the first night when I met the Aborigines at night by the bonfires. I saw like a dingo, and I thought, oh, well, of course they have pets. It's a dingo. Of course it would be. And that brought some comfort to me. And then I saw little children, and I thought, well, yeah, these are families. This is part of, this is not some tourist thing. These are families. So it just brought some comfort to me to see children and to see the dingoes. Just a different culture.
Now, you weren't even allowed to speak to these Aboriginal women, were you? Or you couldn't meet their eyes or something?
Yeah, you weren't supposed to look. And that's true with a lot of cultures. You don't look in their eyes directly until they look at you. And when someone was dancing, you needed to make sure that you hit the ground and you were lower than they were, that you were on the ground. There's just little things like that I really didn't know until I'd done something wrong. And then someone would discreetly let me know, hit the ground, you can't be walking around while they're dancing. So there was a lot going on. They had one woman who spoke English, and she was Aboriginal, but she knew how to speak English. So they put her in the middle, and then the Aboriginals were on one camp, on one side of her, and then the other women could go anywhere you want. It's a vast desert. You go wherever you want. And then they would call ceremony, and it's not like they waited until a specific time, like we're going to do this at 5:00 on Thursday. They would wait until nature was aligned. So we never knew when they were going to call ceremony. And then, so I thought that's interesting. They don't run by a watch. They run by what nature is doing. And
I love it.
Yeah. So then they would call ceremony, and then all that you would wear would be a black skirt. That's it. And then your body would be painted. And then we had shoes on because the desert was so hot. And then I had a hat. And thank God I had that hat because it's incredibly hot. And it had a net because the insects are just every hour there's some new insect that comes through. And you're constantly being swarmed. And honestly, when I left that outback, I was only with them for a week. And I left and I thought, wow, they are still out there. They are still out there. This is where they live because it's so harsh. And I went back to that hotel and probably took the longest shower I've ever had in my life. They're so dusty and dirty.
Oh.
Did you read the book? Did you read the book Mutant Messages from Down Under before you left?
I'm very well aware of that book. Yes, I had read that book. Yeah. And I'm aware of the controversy around that book. So I was really, really careful when we put out both of these books that it was absolutely accurate and that we had the blessings. So when I went into the Outback, we talk about this in the book, Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening, how I had the opportunity to be with sort of the head, the woman who was in charge of everything, the Aboriginal woman. And to my surprise, I learned that she knows English. At least she knows enough English, and she could speak to me. And so I asked her, we had brought some gifts from the United States. We had brought Indian blankets and had our community very consciously create beads and strung them together with love as gifts for them. And so I was given the opportunity to go and present those to her in her tent. And when I was there, I found myself just breaking into tears saying, thank you for helping my husband, because I knew that they were part of the same tribe. If not the exact same tribe, they were part of that. And I asked, do you want me to be teaching your healing secrets? I just wanted to make sure this is what they wanted. And yes, this is what they want. So it was nice to get that validation, that blessing, because they know that we really don't get it. And we civilized tribes really need to understand how this works. And as we heal ourselves, we heal each other, and that also helps heal the planet. So they want this information out. That's very generous of them to give their ancient healing secrets to the white people who have stolen much from them. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you share a story, or Gary, whoever shared this part of the story, that they were expecting him.
They knew 4 months before he knew of them that he was coming, because they're so tapped, they have unplugged from the mind, and they're so tapped into this unified field. They knew he was coming, and they knew that they were supposed to give their healing secrets to him. And initially, I guess they were resistant to doing that, and understandably so.
Yeah.
But when they understood that this is what the big guy wanted, they were happy to do so. And the big guy is kind of a tongue-in-cheek. It's a genderless term for divine, all that is, God, goddess, but that's kind of a word that we've used. And so the big guy asked them to give their healing secrets to Gary because he was a globe-trotting physicist, and he had respect, and he knew how to get this information out there. So, yeah.
Now, did they realize that you were Gary's wife when you were invited?
Well, now see, Gary went into the Outback in 94, and I
Right.
didn't meet him until 2001.
But did they realize there was this connection, or was it?
Who knows? Probably. I didn't bring it up. You know, we didn't really.
The big guy knew.
Yeah, maybe
Big
the good guy. Yeah, I didn't. I'm not telepathic. And it's interesting how Gary came back from the Outback and became what the Aborigines were doing. He became telepathic to everything. He started seeing the inner workings of people's bodies. He started being able to do what the Aborigines do. And I believe that we all have those abilities. It's about whether you tap into them. And so as I continue to open to that, it's amazing what comes through. So
I just think, I mean, what are the odds that you would have ended up in the Outback with the same tribe that Gary lived with?
yeah.
I mean, that isn't a mistake. I mean, that's synchronicity at its best and highest mystical form.
Right. And both of us were gathered around Uluru or Ayers Rock. And that's a very sacred, strong vortex of energy in Uluru. It's got a high vibration to it, and that's no accident either. And so I think that's why when you get into that high vibrational environment, things happen. Because it's
No
a different
doubt.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of the 12 notes? You know
Oh.
about the 12 notes?
Could be.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
I
you.
just learned that like 2 days ago.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that. That's great to know.
What
Yeah.
are some of the other
Yeah.
notes, Roger?
Mount Shasta.
Don't hedge. but-
Lake Titicaca.
Yeah.
Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu. Yeah.
Is it Glastonbury or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that where Stonehenge is? The Glastonbury Plain, or?
Yeah.
I think so. And then there's one in the Yukon, Maui.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all around the world. Very deliberate point.
So there's 12 of them. There's
Yeah.
12 of them.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very sacred site, obviously.
I didn't know anything about it till like 2 days ago. So there you go.
Well, it's kind of like if you look at the earth as like a body, you know, I mean, we're all kind of the same. And we have these trigger points, we have these meridians, we have these chakras, and the earth has the same. So,
Right.
yeah.
So for those of you who are listening, the first book is called Secrets of Aboriginal Healing. And I love the tagline, A Physicist's Journey with a Remote Australian Tribe. Because Gary was very intelligent. He was a physicist. He owned his own aerospace company or something at this time too, when he went. And then the second book is Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening, both available on, I'm assuming, Amazon and
Everywhere.
any other booksellers.
Yeah.
Can they get these from your website as well?
They can, but you know, my first choice is let's support the little bookstore around the corner.
Awesome. If you could find one anymore.
Yeah.
And so, Robbie, why don't you share with us as we wind this down now, how can people find you to get either healing work done or to maybe engage you as a speaker? Tell us how they can reach you.
And they can go to the website too and find out information. And like I said, next week, I think it's next week, we might have that free report available to them. They can go to holzwellness.com. It's HOLZ as in zebra, WELLNESS.com. And I'd love to hear from people. They can contact me at Robbie at holzwellness.com, and that's ROBBIE at HOLZ wellness.com.
And then you also have a Facebook group, don't you, or a Facebook page?
I do. Yeah. There's Holz Wellness, and then there's Robbie Holz. So yeah.
So lots of ways to connect with Robbie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, you can always go to our website at www.empoweryoumedia.com. Robbie has her own page on our website, and we'll be posting the videos from today's discussion, as well as links to her books and your website and that type of thing as well. Take us a few days to get that up there. And thank you so much for joining us today, Robbie. It has been splendid having you here.
Pleasure talking to both.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, and we look forward to that third book, and we'll be talking to you again. I want to know how to talk to my guides, or my, what did you call them? My
advisory committee.
Advisory committee.
Yeah. We can go to the website. My website will tell you that. But yeah, we need a book on it. So.
All right.
Definitely.
Good.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Everyone have a great evening.